Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, the 17th of June, 2026. As I often say, well done on making it this far. Hello and welcome to everyone in the chat. First of all, we've got Lost Missionary in there. We've got Sarah Davis. We've got Martin Harrow and Veg Pie. Gallifreyan Ren is in there. And Saz, hello, hello, hello. If you'd like to join our friendly friends in the friendly chat, all you need to do is hit the friendly subscribe button and wait for a minute. And then you'll be able to join in. Today we're going to be talking about Refuck. Okay, we're going to talk about Reform UK. We're going to be talking about the absolute horror show that will be enacted if these horrible little greasy mofos get anywhere near the levers of power, which we're very much hoping that they don't do. So I'm just cleaning my glasses there so I can see what I'm saying. But before we do that, I hope all goes well. Now, don't be alarmed, but I'm in a lovely little mood, at least until Graham chooses a depressing topic. Well, I don't want to choose a depressing topic, Gallifreyan man. I mean, to me, I think the more that we point out to refuckers that this is what refuck wants to do, the more we'll make refuckers, potential refuck voters go, I better not do that. You better not do that. Better not vote for these fucking idiots who, want to destroy everything that we know and love. There's some other stuff been going on as well. There's been a Russian warship that fired shots at a yacht, a little sailboat in the English Channel. So that happened. Mostly teasing. I'm not going to try and depress you. I think this is kind of empowering. Do you know what else as well I want to talk about? I want to mention this before I get started. I know a lot of people who watch this show from the trans community, and what we've been seeing over the last sort of month or so is facilities just taking the venues, whatever, just taking off the sign off the front of the toilets. So now anyone can use any toilet. So all those TERFs that were like going, I don't want men in the toilet. Yeah, they probably never ran into a trans woman in the toilet ever in their entire fucking lives. I don't think they necessarily swim in the same waters, if you know what I mean. Those TERFs, I think they just mostly stay at home and just make a little fort in their bedroom and under the covers and sit there on the internet on a laptop going, I don't think they actually go out in the outside world, whatever. But now if you're a woman and you go out to go for a piss, there's a good chance there's going to be a man in the same toilet that you're pissing in. A cisgender man. Because of this new guidance. And everyone's like, what fuck? I've got to build some new toilets? What? I don't have time for that. I ain't got time for that. Anyway, so so good news. The law of unintended consequences. Is it like, wasn't there a thing in India once with the snakes? They remember this with the snakes in India, where the British authorities had a problem with snakes, so they gave a bounty to like the people who would bring in the most snake skins. So if you provided the most, if you gave 10 snake skins, you got a load of money off the British authorities that were running the place at the time. And people went, what, we can get money from snake skins? I've got an idea. Why don't we breed some snakes and then kill them and then take the skins and then we get money for that? That became very profitable. Some of those snakes escaped. The number of snakes actually went up because people were actively breeding them. The law of unintended consequences. So there you go. So all these little TERFs who go, I don't want men in my toilet. Well, you've got more men than ever before, my friends. You fucking idiots. You fucking idiots. And we're up to 139 on the early day motion. Anyone know how many signatures it needs to reach? I don't actually. I don't know what the process is. I don't know if there's a cut-off point. But I'm assuming that that Labour, I mean, that they've only got they've only got they've got 150 seat majority. So if over 100 of their MPs have signed something saying we don't want to do this, we don't want to bring in these stupid rules, then I don't know. Anyway, my MP here, Mary Kelly Foy, she's on the list. The MP in Liverpool West Derby, where I grew up, Ian Byrne, he's on the list. So that's my MPs that I can actually feasibly contact. They're on the list, so that's good. If you have an MP, if they're Labour in particular, get onto them on this. Get onto them and say, can you please sign up to this and prove that you're not an absolute piece of shit person. Anyway, okay, so we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Obviously, is going to be this by-election in Makerfield, and I think a lot of us are hoping that Burnham wins, takes Labour in a new direction. Whether he wins or not, I don't know. Whether he takes Labour in a new direction or not, I don't know. I hope he does. I hope he doesn't just get in and then just become Starmer Mark II and just go, oh, well, I did want to do all these things, but obviously there's been some problems because of all of the money that we don't have or something. Do you know what I mean? Love Ian Dunt. I like a bit of Ian Dunt. Good article from Black Dot there. Let's have a look. What's this? The trans code explained. What does it say? How does it work? And what happens next? Absolute madness. The code is just this bungled piece of shit quasi legislation that's never going to be able to achieve what it is the TERFs wanted it to achieve, and it's never going to satisfy anybody. So in the past, 99% of people were all right. They were going about Trump's on the telly. They were going about their daily life, having a nice time, getting up, having some cereal in the morning, ice cold milk, lovely stuff, right? And then they get on the train, get on the bus, get in the car, they go to work, they'll work, and you know what? This whole time they weren't thinking about trans people. I don't even think trans people were thinking about trans people while they were on the bus, to work. And then they had lunch with their colleagues, and then they came home and they made dinner. Maybe watch some films on the telly, watch some TV shows that they like, and then they went to bed. And they spent the whole day not being in a cold sweat about trans people existing. 99% of people. And so this guidance has been brought in for that 1%. That 1% who is constantly like, oh my God, there's trans people everywhere. They're everywhere. They're out to get me. Ah! No, Doris, they're not allowed to get you. They don't give a fuck about you. Just like you didn't give a fuck about trans people until 10 years ago when some oil company told you that it was the most important thing in all the world. But here's the joke. This new guidance doesn't even satisfy the 1% of lunatics. Literally, it makes nobody happy. Nobody is happy with it. The TERFs aren't happy with it because it's not going to achieve what they want it to achieve. The only thing they're sort of happy about is being horrible to trans people. That's it. That's the only thing they're happy about at the moment. But that's their prerogative in life, isn't it? That's their raison d'être. God, imagine being that pathetic. Imagine being that craven. This is all I've got. So, who are you and what do you do? Well, I'm a TERF and I hate trans people. Okay, cool. Excellent. I love a bit of malicious compliance. Yeah, Gallifreyan men. All the loos are going unisex in loads of businesses, so the TERFs have to share with men now. Yeah, Black Death, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what loads of businesses are doing right now because it's cheaper to take the signs off the doors and comply with the guidance that way than to build separate toilets for the black people. Sorry, I mean trans people. Did I say separate toilets for the black people? God, that would have been apartheid, wouldn't it? Anyway, so yeah, absolutely fucking nuts. What we set out in the code is not us making the law, said the head of the ironically named Equalities and Human Rights Committee. Commission or committee? I don't know what the fuck it stands for. She's a fucking gobshite. Anyway, so there you go. Thanks for putting the link in there, Black Dot. That is very good of you, and I'm going to pin that. So if anyone else wants to read Ian Dunt's article there, that is That is pinned. That is pinned. But yeah, I mean, you gotta laugh, haven't you? I guess, or you'll cry. Like, these fucking idiots. This is what happens when you say to an idiot, "What should we do?" And they go, I don't know. I just want to sit on this dry brick wall and dry stone wall and put a bit of straw between my teeth and laugh so hard that I fall backwards off the dry stone wall. Oh, is that because you're a village idiot? Yes, I'm a village idiot. Don't ask me for anything. UFC fights on the lawn of the White House. Turn the White House into the Shite House. Anyway, somebody wants to turn our parliament into an absolute joke, an absolute mockery, is refuck, right? And I mean, first of all, we've got Makerfield tomorrow, right? So Labour MP Josh Simons resigned, creating one of the highest stakes by-election in this parliament. I think anybody, I can't remember a by-election like this in my lifetime, where it's been like, if he wins, he's probably going to be, if the guy who's running for the in this constituency wins, he's going to be Prime Minister. And I think when the one time this did happen, I think it was with Alex Douglas Hume back in 1962, I want to say, or maybe 63. It was a very, very safe Tory seat that he stood in. So it was just a shoe-in, right? I don't think he did have to do any campaigning. Didn't have to go out with his nanny or nothing. Whereas this is a tough race. This is a tough race. You add the people who are going to saying they're going to vote for refuck and the people who are going to vote for retwat, whatever the other one is, together, restore. You put those together, and it comes to about the same as the Labour vote for Andy Burnham. Now, there's a hope that people will vote tactically from the Greens and from the Lib Dems to get Burnham in, keep the refuckers out, and also to get rid of Keir Starmer. But there was a fascinating sign yesterday, which really did have to be seen to be believed. So I'll show you. I'll bring it up on the screen. All right, just give me a moment to just grab hold of a copy of it so I can bring it up on the screen. But like, honestly, if you just saw this, you're just like, this is the caliber, my friends, of the people who vote for refuck. Okay, so just let me save this, and then I'm going to just bring it over to my screen here. Sorry, filling. Okay, here we go. Right. OMG. Look at that picture. Look at it. I would rather vote for Jimmy Savile than Labour. Well, he said it. He wrote, first of all, you think, oh, that's got to be AI, hasn't it? That's got to be AI. No way. Come on. No one will put that on a sign. I would rather vote for Britain's most notorious paedophile than Labour. I mean, I don't think that's the win that he thinks it is. But this is what these people are like. This is what these people who are supporting refuck are like. Just twisted, weird, quite evil people. I think there's you don't want to bandy the word evil around too much because it loses all meaning. But come on, these people aren't right, are they? I mean, the right wing, they're not right in the head. But yeah. So anyway, Burnham's only narrowly ahead. And there's been polls out that have put Burnham ahead. There's been polls out. There's also the betting odds, which are heavily stacked towards Burnham. But as that guy who lost $1 million on the Spain Cape Verde footy match the other day, found out, just because the odds are in your favour doesn't mean you're going to win. Which is the motto for the sequel to the Hunger Games. Anyway, so the same Optimum poll that found that put Burnham 5 points ahead, when asked about a future general election, 42% in Makerfield backed refuck, and only 34% backed Labour. So it suggests that Burnham's personally, like he individually, he is he's outperforming Labour, the Labour brand. And Restore Britain is thankfully, they're words I never thought I'd be putting into a sentence. Restore Britain and thankfully, but they're thankfully splitting the hard right vote, meaning that Refuck's biggest problem in Makerfield might not be Labour, but, you know, their fellow far rights, privately educated posh rivals. Who are funded by privately educated posh trillionaire Elon Musk. Gobshite. Robert Kenyon, the candidate, is a piece of shit. He has objectified women, used transphobic language, spread COVID misinformation. He's talked disgusting, derogatory way about Carol Vorderman. It's been dismissed by Nigel Farage as laddish talk. So that's a neat contrast there with, you know, Refuck's law and order seriousness. And Kenyon's candidacy lets Refuck talk about, you know, the ordinary bloke, using that branding as a way of excusing behaviour, and also as a way of deflecting the fact that most of the people in running Refuck and involved in Refuck are incredibly posh. Nigel Farage has a Coots bank account. Do you have a Coots bank account? Do you? Nah, do you fuck? Got to be a multimillionaire to have a Coots bank account. And when they said, you haven't got enough multi-millions to become one of these people in the multi-millionaire club that we have, he said, oh, I'm going to go on the front page of all the newspapers talking about two-tier banking. I was like, yeah, two-tier banking. You're absolutely right. There is two-tier banking, because obviously you get to have a posh person's bank account. And don't forget, if you're dead rich and you got loads of money coming in and out your account, you don't get charged for taking money out of foreign cash machines. You don't get charged for, I don't know, fucking all the shit that we get charged for when we go, you know, into our overdraft. If you see a far-right rally or protest, you're seeing an army of Jimmy Saviles. Yeah, pretty much. Starmer said if Burnham wins, he should focus on Manchester mayoral campaign and not leadership campaign. Insecure Keir. Well, yeah, I mean, you know, if Labour lost the mayoralty of Manchester, that would be really, really bad. But yeah, I think they're probably going to try and get someone who's likely to win in Manchester. I'm thinking Gary Neville, if he wants to do it. Don't know if he does, but there you go. So yeah, let's talk about the policy. The policies that Refuck want to carry out, because this is worth pointing out, isn't it? You know, the NHS, you know, they want to privatise the NHS. They want to put a 20% tax relief on private healthcare insurance. Do you think the private fucking insurance companies have been talking to him? They want NHS vouchers for private treatments if patients cannot see a GP within 3 days. And Refuck says independent healthcare capacity would grow rapidly. So private healthcare will grow rapidly. And you know, you've seen this a million times before. They're planning to run down the NHS, whatever public service it is, but in this case, the NHS. They're planning to run it down and make privatizing it seem attractive to people. Because, you know, if they fuck with the NHS, then people will fucking die. Yeah. They also want to get rid of indefinite leave to remain, which is abhorrent. They want to get rid of this is the status that allows long-term legal residents to live permanently in the UK after years of work, paying tax, family life, compliance with the rules, committed no crime. Refuck's policy would tell people who have followed the rules all their lives that the rules can be rewritten underneath them after their lives and disrupt the lives that they have built here, because that's what Refuck love to do. They get off on it. They get a little wieners in you know, between the two fingers like that, and they get very excited. Yeah, this is what they do for sexual gratification. Refuckers, they make other people's lives a misery. That's all they want to do. Because they're quite miserable people. You know how miserable people want everyone else to be just as miserable as they are? Yeah, they're kind of like that. They say that the EU settled status is not in the scope, but benefit entitlements. would still change because foreign nationals would be no longer eligible for welfare payments. So you could have a kid who's been here all of his life, worked all of his life, and then they're turning around. He came across on the Windrush as a child, and now this government is saying, well, not this government, a potential future refuck government are like, yeah, fuck them. And Refuck says that children of renewable visa holders would no longer automatically acquire British citizenship at birth. Also, the policy creates deliberate insecurity for nurses, care workers, spouses, long-term residents, families, children, many of whom may have never known any other country. And they want to get rid of the human rights, all human rights. No humans shall have rights anymore. They want to leave the European Convention on Human Rights. They want to repeal the Human Rights Act. And they want to. They're talking about replacing it with another law that puts everything back. Yeah, all right. And Reform's rhetoric frames human rights as something used by bad people rather than the legal architecture that protects ordinary people from powerful institutions and individuals like Nigel Farage, who has all this fucking money. He's got so much money. They also want to replace the civil service leaders with private sector political appointees who will come and go with the government. That would just weaken or arguably destroy the concept of a politically neutral permanent civil service, which is supposed to work for one government, and then a new government comes in, they work for that government. And Refuck proposes restricting postal voting to the elderly, disabled, and people who can't leave their homes, because they're jumping on that bandwagon, that Trump bandwagon of, the postal voting, it's corrupt. It's not. It's not. Refuck claim that postal voting has allowed electoral fraud, but they've also claimed that people going in person to polling stations is also committing electoral fraud if you go as a family. Make up your mind, twats. The effect would make voting harder for workers, carers, people with chaotic lives, people who are away from home. And they also want to create an anti-corruption unit with legal powers to investigate past and future scandals, including prison sanctions for public officials. And then there's the anti-corruption unit that they want to bring in. And they'll say, oh, Westminster genuinely has a corruption problem. Yeah, but the problem is you, Refuck. The problem is Nigel Farage. We have a system in which foreign-based billionaires give money to British politicians to do what the billionaires based in Thailand or wherever want them to do. That is corruption. Absolute 100% foreign interference, corruption. And Nigel Farage is the head of that. But now he's going, we're going to bring in an anti-corruption unit. No, you're not, mate. Because if you did do that, you'd end up in fucking jail, where I think you belong. But yeah, this, past and future scandals they want to do something about. Broad enough weapon to use against officials, opponents, journalists, regulators, institutions that Farage dislikes. He wants the Trumpification of the United Nation, of the United Kingdom. Trump has shown how anti-corruption language can be used to justify revenge investigations against political enemies. And Farage is not proposing an independent democratic renewal. He's proposing state power in the hands of a movement built around grievance and personal loyalty. And then, the equality law. They want to replace the 2010 Equalities Act. The Equalities Act protects people from discrimination based on sex, race, disability, age, religion, belief, sexual orientation, pregnancy, maternity, gender reassignment, or marriage, civil partnership. And Refuck frames equality protections as positive actions, and they call them DEI rules, turning anti-discrimination law into culture war bait. And their proposed woman and motherhood law has been criticised by unions, right? Because this idea, what they want to do, this is what Refuck want to do, right? Not only do they want to ban abortions, right? They also want to make it so that if you don't have kids, you have to pay more tax. Imagine that. Imagine you want kids. Imagine you'd really love to have kids and you can't for whatever reason. or maybe you have miscarriages. Maybe it's quite traumatic, and you're trying for ages, and it's really upsetting. Nigel Farage wants to charge you more. So not only would you, conceivably, have something awful happen to you, which I wouldn't wish on anyone, and imagine going as far to say you lose your child, and then Refuck sends you a bigger tax bill next year because you don't have a kid anymore. That's the future that Nigel Farage wants. That's how sick and twisted these disgusting, braying, privately educated millionaires are. When we say people don't live in the real world, we genuinely mean that. Because not only do they not know anyone or hang out with anyone or have anything to do with anyone from any other walk of life, when you're Nigel Farage, you just hang out with your old Bullingdon fucking boys clubs or whatever he went to, whatever club he was in. He didn't go to university, did he? Didn't need to. Gobshite. But yeah, not only that, but to do that to somebody is the most abhorrent thing I could possibly fucking imagine. I mean, oh God, actually join the fucking queue for what we fuck want to do. But that's the future that they want. They want a future in which you're grieving the loss of your child, and then you get a bigger tax bill because you don't have any children. And the proposed woman and motherhood law, it will weaken equal pay for work for equal value cases, and also it matters for all new women because equal pay claims often depend on comparing jobs of equal value, not just identical job titles. And then going back to the NHS, they want to bring in these private vouchers, but that's gonna drain staff, attention, and money into private providers instead of fixing the NHS itself. They're saying that this is like I don't want to call it a sticking plaster policy. It's not even a sticking plaster. It's pushing towards the systemic destruction of the NHS, which Nigel Farage, probably one of his funders, is one of these big American insurance companies that make an absolute fucking killing out of killing Americans. They want to bring that system over here so that if you can't afford your insurance, you don't get, you end up with a bill for £50,000 for going to the hospital and giving birth. Or even better, you do have to, you do get a bit of money off them, but you're going to pay the first £5,000 yourself, which for some people in this country is half a year's wages in real terms. Farage is more evil than Skeletor, says Francis. You're absolutely right, Francis, and thank you very much for the first super chat of the morning. He is what I think Jesus Christ of the Christian Bible. I think Nigel Farage is someone that Jesus will call an absolute cast iron, copper bottomed, dead cert cunt. Anyway, private healthcare relief towards people who can already afford private health cover. Great, cool. You do that. Yeah, give them a bit of money back. The people who can already afford private healthcare, give them a bit of money back. People who can already afford private schools for their kids, give them a bit of money back. People who can afford, a private jet. Should they really have to pay tax on the fuel they put into the private jet? Come on. A two-tier system where would grow, where better off patients are subsidised to exit the queue while everyone else is left with an under-resourced public system. And Refuck proposes charging people who miss appointments without notice, which sounds simple but could hit people with mental health issues, on insecure work, transport problems, or caring responsibilities. We've seen the tyranny of what the Tories did to our benefit system for people who are out of work, saying if you're 5 minutes late getting to the appointment, you're poor, you're out of work, you have to rely on public transport to get anywhere. Public transport in this country is notoriously unreliable ever since Margaret Thatcher fucking decided that we should have 17 different bus operating companies in each city, and each one should be operated by a different European government, just not ours. But if you're 5 minutes late, that's it. You don't get any benefits that week or that month. But Nigel's a man of the people. He stands up for us. He tells it like it is. He goes to the pub. He drinks a pint. He smokes. He wears a cap. Ironic. Yeah, Peter paints a lot. When these reform people have to choose between their kid's broken arm being reset or plastered because they can't afford £1,000 for each treatment. Yeah, but I think Stu the Bearders, I think a lot of people who vote for refuck don't really care about their children, because if they did, they wouldn't vote for refuck, would they? I love all these turkeys voting for Christmas, says Diz. Yeah, I get that. Totally. Yeah, times they are changing. Yeah. Then professional layabout would be a position only open to the offspring of the wealthiest families. Yeah, you're not right. You're not wrong. Anyway, so refuck also proposes abolishing the NHS Race and Health Observatory, despite racial health inequalities being measurable in maternity outcomes, diagnosis rates, and treatment access. Black women are more likely to die in childbirth than white women. That's not right. That shouldn't be happening. And Nigel Farage just wants to take any kind of oversight to stop that happening. Lots of reform people genuinely believe that if you deal with immigrants, you save the children. Yeah, from the people who say that they would vote for Jimmy Savile. People are saying they will positively vote for Britain's most notorious paedophile if it was a choice between them and Labour. And this is how deranged these people are. I've got to say, if it was a choice between Britain's most notorious paedophile and refuck, I would vote for refuck. I wouldn't want to. I feel shit about it. I probably would never get myself clean again. Spend the rest of my life in a shower, scrubbing. I'd be like Lady Macbeth with the spot. Be like that. I'm not going to vote for Jimmy fucking Savile. What the fuck is wrong with you? Fucking arseholes. I think people who vote for refuck do have a grievance, but they misdirect their anger. Yeah, they got grievance because they have to look in the mirror and go, "Oh my God!" Sorry, that's a bit mean. Anyway, workers' rights. They're going to repeal the Great Repeal of workers' rights. Richard Tice has pledged Reform's Great Repeal Act, targeting Labour's Employment Rights Act. So that's protections against 0 hours contracts, exploitative 0 hours contracts, which they'll bring back. They would bring back fire and hire practices. They would include stronger rights. They would get rid of parental leave and stronger rights about overtime and cancelled shifts. They also want to get rid of renters' rights as well. They've pledged to repeal the Renters' Rights Act. So that will bring back no-fault evictions for tenants. It will also replace fixed-term tenancies with open-ended agreements. They'll get rid of that. They'll get rid of fixed-term tenancies. They will also get rid of the stronger duties over health hazards. So black mold can come back and they can kill some more children living in substandard accommodation, because there'll be no oversight for the landlords. So the landlords will probably vote for this. And also, they want to chuck people out of their homes if they live in social accommodation and they didn't pop out their mum in the correct coordinate of longitude and latitude. Some inferior coordinate of longitude and latitude on this one planet that we all share and live on. So I mean, they're going to repeal the Renters' Rights Act that will put renters back in a weaker position against landlords who can use their insecurity as leverage. They also want to stop work from home. So that's me fucked. Well, not really, but they say that Britain needs an attitudinal change to hard work. Go fuck yourselves. Honestly, I can't say this enough for the people who vote for this shit. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with you? Most of the people who vote for refuck are fucking old, stupid cunts who are fucking retired. They don't fucking work, and yet they're voting for this shit that's going to fuck everyone who is working over. They're going to take away our rights. They're going to take away people's ability to have a good, decent work-life balance and work from home. Not necessarily full-time. Most people who work from home go into the office once a week or even more. But it allows them to be able to pick the kids up from school, be able to see their children more. But VFuck doesn't want that. They just want you to work till you fucking die, make loads of money for the already rich, and give a fuck about you. And I know we use offensive language on this show, and it might upset some people, but the people who vote for refuck are genuine fuckers. They want to fuck things. They want to fuck things up for everybody in this country. So they want to get rid of working from home. They see it, they're using it as like a middle class perk. But it does matter for disabled workers, carers, patients, neurodivergent workers, people priced out of commuting. It's a lot easier for my partner to be working from home with subtitles on a Zoom meeting than having to travel all the way to Newcastle to work, which takes an hour to get in, an hour to get out, 2 hours of her life every week, 10 hours a week, 50 weeks a year. It's 500 hours spent on the fucking train to fucking Newcastle. And then she'll get into a meeting where it's very difficult to follow what people are saying because there's not necessarily automatically generated subtitles. And yes, she can put them up on her phone in front of her in a meeting, which helps a little bit. But if someone's sitting at the other end of the table and they're quite softly spoken, or they've got a really broad accent, it is difficult face to face. And when you're lip reading. But Nigel Farage wants to take all that away. Wants to take all that away from people. Wants to take away the fact that people get to spend more time with their families, more time in the home that they work for all the time. A lot of people, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, would work every hour God sent and then spend hardly any time at home. Would just get in at midnight, fall asleep, get up again at 7 in the morning and go back to work. So yeah, the people who most likely to lose flexibility are not high-powered CEOs, the admin staff, the call center workers, the public sector workers, and lower-paid office workers, and refucks anti-work from home rhetoric. It treats like surveillance, job surveillance, and what do they call it? Presenteeism or something. It's like the turning up, being seen as more important, when we've seen so many times all over the world where people have moved to working from home, that productivity has gone up. Productivity has gone up. And the real divide here isn't hard workers versus shirkers. It's workers wanting control over their lives versus bosses wanting to, see people narcissistic, horrible little twats who, terrible bosses who want to exercise unreasonable amounts of control over their workers. If people do the job, then fine, keep them on. And then they've got this fucking fantasy fucking fantasy economics, which is on a par with Liz Truss. Right, so Liz Truss brought in the mini budget with Kwasi Kwarteng, and it was a fucking disaster because none of it was funded. So let's have a look. They wanted to they wanted to price personal tax pledges at £70 billion a year. It priced business tax pledges at 18 billion. It put annual policy costs at 141 billion. It claimed they would make 160 billion per year in savings and extra growth potential. And these savings rely on huge assumptions, including 50 billion with a B, slashed from wasteful government spending, and 30 billion from scrapping net zero. So there's another thing. They want to scrap net zero. We'll get into that in a minute, but scrapping net zero is not going to save money. It's going to cost money in the long term because we're going to be still in the hock of pork markets, in the hock of the oil magnates, the oil oligarchs, the oil tyrannies, the oil autocracies around the world. Yeah, that's going to save any money. And if there was any money to save, there was £50 billion to save in our welfare budget, government spending, whatever. Do you think that the Tories wouldn't have fucking done it already? They did a whole fucking thing about austerity. Do you remember that? Yeah. Do you remember how well that went? Well, this is going to be austerity on steroids. This is what the refuckers want. They wanted to raise the income tax threshold to 20,000 and the higher rate threshold to 70,000. They wanted to cut corporation tax from 25% to 20% and then to 15%. This is corporations that already pay fuck all in tax, but whatever. They proposed lifting the corporation tax profit threshold to £100,000 for small to medium enterprises. They wanted to abolish inheritance tax for estates worth under £2 million. Do you know what I mean? These people don't live in the real world. They got to get rid of it for anyone, who becomes an overnight millionaire because the parents cark it. And the inheritance tax policy is being sold as helping ordinary families, but 99% of the population do not live in a house that's worth £2 million. But these motherfuckers do, don't they? Chris C, please accept my late fee for being late this morning. Away with you. Thank you very much for the super chat. But you don't have to apologise for being late. You can turn up when you want. You can, if you like, you can start. I used to be great at presenteeism. Is that how you pronounce presenteeism? You never catch me doing anything, but I was always there. Says Acro Dave. Hey, listen. Don't worry about turning up late. What you can do is just start from the watching from the beginning and just put it on double speed. I might talk way too fast then. Anyway, so and then what waste? What does waste usually mean? Every fucker's saying it's going to cut departments and quangos and commissions. And quango is often used as a derisory word. It was a word it's a quasi-autonomous, non-governmental organisation, something like that. And it was cooked up in the 1990s under the Major government, I think. That's when quangos came out, but many of these arm's length bodies perform regulation, inspection, standards, safety, and accountability work, which is something that refuck want to do away with. They want to, cutting regulatory capacity may mean fewer inspections, slower enforcement, and weaker consumer protection. Refuck also proposes cutting foreign aid by 50%, presented as domestic savings, but with consequences for famine relief, disease prevention, and in international fucking stability. It's kind of important, if we want our economy not to be going through all these bloody bumps all the time. And the danger is that you mix this Liz Truss economics with pub bore culture war wrapped around it. Like the big tax cuts first, explanations later, and then we'll mention the scrapping net zero, scrapping £10 billion of annual renewable energy subsidies through equivalent tax on renewables, and they want to fast track licenses for North Sea oil and gas. And they want to bring back shale, digging for shale gas as well. Major production they want to do for shale gas drilling in places like Blackpool. They want to do this, and they will do this if they get in. They want to ban ULEZ. They want to get rid of clean air zones. They want to get rid of low traffic neighbourhoods. I mean, if you wanted to make a list, if you wanted to prove to the world that you were the biggest twat ever, I mean, you couldn't do much better than copying Nigel Mansell's, Nigel Farage's, sorry, Jesus Christ, he's a bloody F1 driver. Nigel Farage's manifesto. He called it a contract. That's it, contract. He called it a contract. And, scrapping net zero does not make Britain immune from global gas prices, global oil prices. More drilling does not guarantee cheap household bills because fossil fuel prices are set by the global market for oil and gas. Weakening clean energy investment risks leaving Britain dependent on volatile gas imports for longer, which is exactly what they want because they're being paid by the gas fucking giants to do this. And then cutting climate targets means less pressure to insulate homes, to modernize the grid, to reduce long-term energy waste. And we will see flooding. We will see heat waves. We will see crop failures. We will see insurance costs going through the fucking roof. This is not some abstract green lifestyle issue. This is about the very real texture of the country in which we live. And then we got the policing and civil liberties shite they want to do. They want to increase stop and search substantially. Can we leave it up to the police to decide what needs to be done here? No, can we ignore them? They want a mandatory life imprisonment for drug dealing and trafficking. Mandatory life imprisonment for non-violent drugs offences. See, this is the thing. The very rich, they just have to get it. Do you know what I mean? They're not doing it. They're not going to do a mandatory life imprisonment for someone taking drugs, because they know that if they did that, all their old school chums will go to jail very, very quickly once they're found with traces of cocaine up their nostrils. But yeah, it's going to be the drug dealing, trafficking, substantial possession of drugs. They want mandatory life imprisonment. And if anyone who has ever taken any illegal drugs in this country, which is not me, by the way, but if anyone who has ever in the past and then votes for refuck, you fucking hypocrite. You disgusting, vile hypocrite. They have a strong preference for ex-military officers and personnel in police recruitment. Now, Robert Kenyon said this on Question Time a couple of weeks ago. He said, people out of the army, they make the best police officers. No, they don't. They've been trained for a completely different thing. When you train to be in the army, the armed services, you are trained that you are fighting an enemy. And they have ways of dehumanizing the enemy in your head, so that you are prepared to go out and actually kill other human beings, because most human beings have an aversion to doing that, who aren't psychopaths. And so there is a certain amount of training that has to be done. And it's not just physical training, but it's mental training as well. If you're part of any armed services around the world, this is the way it works, right? People coming out of the army and joining the police force, and then with that same mentality of the enemy, the faceless enemy, is not a good thing. We need community police officers, not people who are running around in this militaristic idea that the civilian population are the enemy, which is what you see in America, where they have fucking battle tanks going around the city streets. They have SWAT teams. They have, the ridiculousness of the militarization of the American police service is just crazy. And as a result, over 1,000 people are shot dead every year, mostly black people, by American cops, because they see civilians as the enemy, not as the people who need help and support in the communities. And the refuck are saying that constables who allow two-tier policing should be sacked. And you're like, what? So the ones who are racist, okay. Oh, no, we don't mean that. The ones who are racist against white people, because that happens once, arguably. No, it didn't really happen. It was just a mix-up. But, I mean, it was a terrible mix-up, and a young lad died, and that's fucking awful. But it's not like the policy of the fucking police, you fucking morons. It's not like the police will get around and go, listen, if you're in a situation and there's a white kid and a black kid and you've got a gun and you've got to use it, can you shoot the white kid, please? Also, they want to scrap the BBC. So there you go. They describe the BBC as institutionally biased. They want a free speech bill aimed at left-wing bias, political correctness, cancel culture, and political institutions. They want to cancel the World Health Organization membership for the United Kingdom. And they also want to have a central bank digital currency. They oppose a central bank digital currency, but they are very in favor of crypto, having a position in our institutions and losing all the protections, the few protections there are against crypto. Funny that. How did that guy who gave Farage all that money, how did he make all his money? Oh, crypto. Okay. Anyway, so scrapping the license fee without a serious replacement model risks getting rid of the BBC entirely, cutting local news, regional journalism, children's programming, public interest, broadcasting, emergency information, infrastructure, and the BBC makes a lot of money for this country. Not just money, through BBC Worldwide, but it also makes it provides a lot of soft power for Britain around the world. It's like, a propaganda fucking channel outside of this country. Not like proper propaganda. Not like proper propaganda where it's intentional to get people to come round to your point of view. But it's a kind of like a mild propaganda outlet where people from around the world, they'll watch the BBC World Network and they go, oh yeah, they seem all right. They seem all right. They don't seem like demons. Which is a big thing, I'm pretty sure that if we had more Eritrean TV programs over here, then people will be a bit more nicer towards Eritreans coming here because they'll know a bit about their culture and about the way they are and about their loves and hates and lives. They want to separate Britain from the continental shelf so we can sail around the world like a giant pirate ship. Arr, indeed. Ponzi money, Jesus. BBC is one of your biggest cultural exports, says Maggie Pike. Yep. But they hate culture. They don't. They. These are white bread, white motherfuckers, white cracking gobshites. That's what they are. And they don't like life. They don't like living. The living for them is pain and misery. They're quite similar to suicide bombers, Islamic suicide bombers in this respect. This isn't the nice life. This isn't good enough. Whatever the world can provide, whatever amazing vistas, beautiful fauna and flora, the nature walks, the mountains, the valleys, the hills, the deep blue sea, the coral reefs, the rainforests, the jungles, the deserts, the Arctic tundra. It means nothing to them. This life is pain. This life is torture. This life to them, to the refuckers and the Islamic terrorists, this is hell. They're in hell. And if they can make life horrible enough for the people around them, their sick, twisted belief is that they will go to the VIP section of heaven and that's where it will be nice. A fully commercial BBC would have to chase advertisers, subscriptions, donor funding, like refuck. Rural, older, and lower income audiences would be less profitable in a purely market-driven model. Public broadcasting is one of the few remaining institutions not entirely shaped in this country by fucking billionaires from another country or in another country. Algorithms, US tech platforms, billionaires. That's what they want to hand the BBC over to. And Farage attacks the BBC because independent scrutiny annoys him. And he just wants GB News, which is funded by some cunt who lives in Dubai, as a propaganda channel, a proper propaganda channel, where they just spout out political shite. BBC's propaganda is the same as Sesame Street's propaganda. It's usually, especially targeted towards kids, it's like, why not be nice to each other? Why not help each other out? Why not share? Can't have that. Nigel Farage doesn't want to share. He thinks, there's got to be lots of money, obviously, in Welsh language children's telly, isn't there? Everyone's got to invest in that. And then you've got the ordinary worker, the ordinary people, that they pretend that they're fucking representing this nasty Nigel Farage creep, piece of shit, fucking racist, privately educated, city banking cunt, right? I can't say enough bad things about him. I cannot wait for his big, beautiful day to come because I will fucking party. He is a vile piece of shit of a man. He is completely disgusting. He has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. He is a vile slug of a man. And he pretends that he's with the ordinary people in his fucking, VIP members fucking lounge of some Mayfair club. This guy flies around on private jets with his Coots bank account. He's got so many houses he forgets where they are. And yeah, he's with the ordinary people. He's one of us. He's one of us. No, he's fucking not. He's the axe that has convinced the forest that he's one of them because his fucking handle's made of wood. The the workers, right? So weaker sick pay, weaker shift protections, weaker fire and hire protections, the bringing back of 0 hours contracts, the renters, the more insecurity, no fault evictions brought back, black mold brought back, patients, more public support rooted into private healthcare. So the private healthcare is getting subsidies from the government. We are paying money into a health system that will be making profits for shareholders. So some of that money will go to profits for shareholders so they can buy a bigger fucking yacht. Disabled people, minority workers, equal protections will be gone. Migrant care workers, visa insecurity for the rest of their lives. Never be able to settle down. Never be able to relax. It's what these fuckers don't want. They don't want you to relax. They want you to be on edge all the time like they are. Skittish little fuckers. Like meerkats. Looking over the top. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? All the time. Because that's the way they think. And they can't emote. These people have no ability to understand someone else's complex emotions. You could be standing in front of one of these twats with tears in your eyes and they will not react. They won't even notice. Because it means nothing to them. They are devoid of empathy. Refuck are not a protest vote. They are a demolition crew. They want to remove legal protections, employment protections, renter protections, climate obligations, and migrant settlers' rights. They dress up like elite tax cuts as help for ordinary people. They dress up coercion, state coercion, as common sense. They dress up revenge politics as anti-corruption. They want to privatize the NHS. They want to destroy the BBC. They want to rewrite the history syllabus. So it's all, here's 52 times that Britain was great. And they market this as common sense. Yeah, it's common sense to want to get rid of the NHS. It's common sense to want to get rid of the BBC. It's common sense to want to be able to, sack people for looking at you funny. Yeah. Just like Trump, they are the end result of neoliberalism, corporate fascism. Yep, absolutely. They absolutely are. Absolute fucking scum. And if we don't call it out at every opportunity, they will win. You need to tell your friends. You need to tell your family. You need to bring it up at every, oh God, is it going on again? Yes, I am going on about this again. Because you need to know what Nigel Farage wants to do to this country. He wants to ban abortions. He wants to tax people who have lost their children. He wants to put a tax on children. He wants to put a tax on parents, bereaved parents. Can you believe that in your wildest fucking dreams? And there's going to be a few thousand people in Makerfield tomorrow going to vote for this. They'll be like, yeah, fucking tax for bereaved parents. Oh, hey, sign me up. That sounds great. Not only do you lose your child, you also got to pay more tax. Anyway. I'll have sympathy even for Farage. That's what separates me from him. Yeah, Liam. I mean, I might, if he was in desperate amounts of pain, I might help put him out of his misery. Gallifreyan Ren, having been through cancer, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but if Graham's theory about Froggy having it is true, I won't be playing the smallest violin. Did I have a theory about him having cancer? Or is that some other Graham? I didn't say he had cancer, did I? We all know that Farage will put gas chambers up if he could get away with it. He's a Nazi. Yeah, he's a Nazi. He's an absolute Nazi. I do wonder what Hunter S. Thompson would make of the year 2026. Well, I think he took himself out before he could get this far. Yeah. Didn't he? Well, wasn't it 2016? Or was it 2017? No, 2005. Oh, was that early? 2005. He clocked out. You'd be too off his face to notice. We know how Farage treated Jews at school. Yeah. I thought you mentioned it the other day. Maybe I imagined it. I think it was someone else, some other talker on the internet. I try not to talk too much about because people do mention Trump's illnesses or Putin's illnesses or whatever, and it's kind of like, what? You just don't know. You just don't know. And I don't want to get my hopes up. We don't pay less tax for having kids. To take that away, I'd have to give tax base to parents first. Yeah. Well, I mean, you do. You got the working credit. The working child credit, the child credit for working parents or whatever the fuck they call it these days. You do get that. But yeah. The fact that they want to punish people who have lost their kids, doesn't bear thinking about, does it? Absolute scum. Anyway, let's go over to the papers. By the way, before I go over to the papers, I just want to say don't vote for Reform UK. Thank you. Russian warship fires shots at UK yacht in Channel. David Dimbleby there. I broke the news of Brexit to Britain. 10 years on, we still haven't seen a single benefit. It's absolutely right. Come on, England. Ooh. Really? Now? With all these people watching? Maybe I'll do it privately later. And Kane, we're ready to end 60 years of hurt. And Tuchel, I'll sing national anthem, but only in the final. Cool. There's a royal blip at Ascot. The king and queen there, their horse, which was the favourite to win, came in dead last. It was called Sad Ken. We've got Russia warships fire shots in the Channel. BBC drops veteran Castle from Wimbledon. Andrew Castle has been dropped from the Wimbledon lead commentator role, but the BBC moving in a new direction. There you go. Andrew Castle, privately educated, I think. Let me just double check that. I'm pretty sure he's on my list. Andrew Castle, British tennis player. Let's have a look. He went to Millfield, which is a private school with boarding and day facilities. That's nice, isn't it? So Andrew Castle, I'm sure he'll pronounce it Castle, but he's definitely on my private school NAFIA list. Of course, he's mentioned on the front cover of a newspaper, and he hasn't necessarily done anything really horrible. The only time we get a mention is when we do something horrible, isn't it? Let's have a look. Andrew. I added another Castle. Another Castle. I added another Andrew yesterday, didn't I? And I was talking about all the different Andrews. But yeah, LBC presenter Andrew Castle. Taxpayers subsidise French bills under clean energy deal. British taxpayers are subsidising the energy bills of French households, with their payments expected to surge under Sir Keir Starmer's EU reset deal. France can buy cheap wind power from the UK, which is subsidised by British taxpayers because of wasteful rules that allow suppliers to sell surpluses of energy abroad. Okay, so they're trying to make out like because we sell energy abroad that we're subsidising the French. We're not. We sell it at a rate that has been agreed upon. They never ever talk about the subsidies that we give to oil and gas, do they? Anyway, they've got these the stupid stories at the bottom. They've got cuts won't mean soldiers won't be battle ready. Streeting, Kia should quit after by-election. Civil servants paid to play video games. Civil servants have been paid to play Grand Theft Auto online with the public. Okay, cool. School ties, why Eton is a perfect place for a prince. So there you go, that's that story there in the corner. Putin opens fire in the Channel as Russian warships fire warning shot at British yachts. Will Starmer and Reeves wake up and boost defence spending? And then in the showbiz story, there's I don't care. And then we've got England versus Croatia, your 16-page pullout. And will Gwyneth's new drama backfire? I don't know. We've got the king and the queen there, in case you forgot what they look like. Being very upset at their horse coming in last. Dead last. Dead fucking last. It was the favourite. It came in last at Ascot. Miliband ghosts MPs by refusing to take his calls. Ooh, naughty. We've got Russian warship fires a yacht on the channel. We've had that one. Accolade for Dench. Dame Judi Dench will become the first actress to have a West End playhouse named in her honour when the Shaftesbury Theatre is rebranded in February. Cool. Shaftesbury Theatre. Shaftesbury. Why do we always have to meet up in Shaftesbury Avenue, Oscar? Why? Well, because it's where I like to bury my... Okay, anyway, go back to the Daily Express over here. Putin's ship opens fire. Oh, frigate is the cover of the Daily Star. It's not too late for Labour. Rayner's message. Ex-Deputy PM praises Burnham's by-election campaign, but avoids Big Starmer question. Then we've got the I newspaper here. Gave 5 out of 5 to Toy Story 5. Hey, see what they've done there. Whereas the Guardian gave it 2 out of 5. So, you know, your mileage may vary. Come on, England. God, we could just... Okay, I will later. Just give me a sec. Petrol price forecast. This doesn't normally happen to me. Petrol price forecast to fall 8p. Is that the price of the forecast? Is that do you have to pay for the forecast? And it's coming down at the end of June with diesel down 17p. And then we've got difficult. The Bowie I knew was funny. That's there as well. Don't blame William and Kate for sending George to Eton. I don't care. I just don't think that Eton should exist. Retired UK couple reveals scary clash in Channel with Russian warship. Russian warship opens fire in the Channel to warn off British yacht. What really needs to go in the fridge? Remember, you're a womble. We get on really well. Starmer denies Trump snub at Parliament. There's Trump there looking very, very ill. It's a bit Weekend at Bernie's, that picture, innit? And then we've got Minister objects to Thames water deal, no peace if Israel stays in Lebanon. And then we've got the Here We Are, which is the cover of the Metro newspaper here. Fans spend a fortune on tickets. The actual cover of the newspaper is an advert for minis. Now, it's funny because I got a copy of the Metro today and picked it up at the train station. I had to drop Cat off. And yeah, English spirit, German management. She looked at this and went, well, why are they celebrating German management? And I was like, well, you know, the England manager is a German, and that's like a football thing. It's like, you know, they have the whiteboards and before the game and they work out the tactics of who's covering who and stuff. And she's like, I don't know anything about football. Why would I give... That's not making me want to buy a Mini. In fact, that makes me not want to buy a Mini. I was like, fair enough. But there you go. Here we are on the Metro. See, the front cover is an advert. Where is it? Oh, so yeah. Fans spend a fortune on flights, tickets, TVs, and a pint to make us proud Free Lions. You know, we've been beaten by Croatia before, haven't we? Does anyone remember when we got beaten by Croatia? I do. SpaceX races past Amazon as 5th most valuable group. Valuation hits 2.8 trillion after 14% surge. Meme stock. It's like Woodstock, but like for tech bros. And then we've got how peace trebled Colombia's cocaine trade. Well, I don't think it's just peace, mate. I think it's the fact that all rich people are just all on cocaine all of the time, which explains everything. The world must agree on how AI is governed, says Martin Wolf. Agree. Emma Reynolds has cast doubt on the £1 billion rescue deal for Thames Water, saying it might place an undue burden on consumers. We've got Brussels in US trade deal. EU lawmakers have approved long delay deal with the US, seeing off Donald Trump's threat to impose higher tariffs on cars. PE chiefs warn of AI risks. Open AI splashes out. JP Morgan plots EU move. France ends Palantir deal. Boom. The domestic intelligence agency has cut contracts with Palantir and replaced it with a local rival. Good. Ericsson chief hangs up. The chief of the Stockholm-based telecoms group is to quit in September, ending a 9-year stint during which he steadied the ship after a series of high-profile scandals. Syria to sign key contract. This is to do with oil and gas in Syria. The major US a major US company now in Syria for their oil and gas. Great. Rathbone stock hit after FCA contact Spurs curb. FCA contact Spurs curb on high risk client activity. Rathbone's shares sank almost a fifth yesterday after it passed investments by high risk clients after an internal review prompted by scrutiny from the financial regulator. Don't really know what that means. Fiscal brass tax box in Burnham's pitch to voters. Fiscal brass tax box in Burnham's pitch to voters. Makerfield's by-election may give Andy Burnham a springboard to number 10. He has hinted at expensive goals such as easing the burden of student loans, making defence spending and cutting, raising defence spending and cutting business taxes. Sorry, it's really hard to read that. It's very, very low resolution. You can't see the definition of the letters at all. You kind of look at the shape of the words and make an educated guess. We need a market crash. Well, it might be coming. It might be coming. Who knows, my friend? Who knows? Hopefully the bubble will do that. Yeah, it's insane that Elon alone now owns as much wealth as half of humanity, 3.7 billion people. Yeah. But he doesn't really own the. He doesn't really own the money. It's just that he has leverage to borrow money from a bank, and when you borrow money from a bank, you only pay an interest rate of like 1 or 2%. It's fuck all compared with capital gains tax. So you can use that money to buy all the shit that you want. And if you sold your shares, you would have to pay capital gains tax. So you don't sell your shares, you sell them, and you use them as leverage for getting this shit, which is shit, genuinely shit. So yeah, slowest food price rises in nearly a year, and nearly a year and a half have helped keep UK inflation to 2.8%. So inflation has not gone up; it has never gone down. Jeremy Clarkson reveals prostate cancer diagnosis on Farming Show. Well, again, I wouldn't wish that on anyone, so not even Clarkson. It's very Bond, fashion expert on the England squad's off-pitch look. Social media has risks, but has given us opportunities too, teen influencers say. Extraordinary Messi makes more history in masterclass for the ages. Lionel Messi there. It was... Messi is celebrating like it was his first goal. So the World Cup all-time scorers, Lionel Messi and Miroslav Klose, both on 16. Ronaldo's on 15. Gerd Muller on 14. Kylian Mbappe is on 14. Just Fontaine is on 13. Pele is on 12. Jurgen Klinsmann is on 11. This is how many goals have been scored in World Cup careers of individual players. I think Harry Kane is there in like the 10th. He's got not 10th position. Well, actually, no, I think it's 10th position. But also he's scored 10 goals. So if he scores any goals during this tournament, if he scores 16, he'll be up there with Messi. So there you go. I'm trying to look at this game, and I should really just say what the score was. There you go. Argentina beat Algeria 3-0. There you go. 3-0. And Messi scored 3 fucking goals. Hat-trick for Messi. There you go. 38-year-old. Fucking hell, it's 38. It moves him level with Miroslav Klose as the highest goal scorer in World Cup history. So there you go. And obviously, the Argentina currently holds the World Cup. They won it last time, so they're fighting a defense of the World Cup. So yeah. Breaking news: Iran threatens harsh response if Israel fails to cease attacking Lebanon. Hi, Chris. Is that from today, or is that from last week, or the week before, or the week before that, or the week before? Isn't it? I feel like I'm in fucking Groundhog Day here. Oh, good. Diz, I can finally turn off the heating I never have on. We're at 17 degrees here. Like, honestly, so cold yesterday. We did actually put the heating on for an hour. We put the heating on in the middle of June, which is kind of a good time to do it because I think energy is cheaper at the moment than it is in the middle of winter when they price gouge you, the bastard. Yeah. Trump's awake. Oh God. I'd like them to be awake for Trump. At the moment, looking on the National Grid Live to see what we're using, 53.6% of our mix at the moment is renewables, and only 10.8% is fossil fuels, and that's all gas. That is all gas. Wind generation at the moment is 27.4% of our of the energy we're getting at the moment, and solar is 25.2%. That's pretty impressive stuff. So there you go. Yeah, renewables kicking in this morning. Looking at the old grid.iamkate.com, which is a fun website to look at if you want to know where your power is coming from. Israel doesn't know what a ceasefire is. Graham, that's a recent news as of 5 minutes. Yeah, I know, Chris. I know. I'm saying that we've heard that before, haven't we? So many times. It's becoming a bit tedious now. The Israelis are behaving. Well, the Israeli government are behaving like absolute fucking barbarians, and no one's really standing up against them. Well, no one in power is anyway. Apparently, there was a group planning to attack the White House UFC event using snipers and drones, according to the FBI, who thwarted it. Part of the plan involves striking nearby buildings with explosive-laden drones and firing on high-value targets. Do you know what, though? The people who have been identified, Tyson C. Proper, Brian Omar Rower, Michael Allen Thomas, Daniel K. Eckridge, and Abraham Alvarez of Nebraska. So they've been all arrested. They were going to use drones and use drones to spark panic and then shoot into the fleeing crowd with the sniper team. This is America, my friends. This is America. This is one of the most violent nations on earth. And we're currently having a World Cup there for some reason. And let's talk about the World Cup for a moment, because when Britain was hosting the World Cup in 1966, when England was hosting the World Cup in 1966, there was a last-minute thing from FIFA when Britain said that they weren't going to allow for the North Korean team. They weren't going to allow visas for the North Korean team. And FIFA said at the time, if you don't allow them in, then we are going to hold the tournament elsewhere at the last minute if necessary. But even as not as far away as 2018, FIFA forced Russia, that was holding the World Cup in that year for some fucking reason, probably because it's horrifically corrupt, and FIFA's horrifically corrupt, and well, what do you expect? But yeah, there was a guy who worked for FIFA at the time who said to Russia, you have to loosen up your visa regulations and allow people into the country to watch the game, or you can't have it. Do you know who that was? Fucking Infantino. The guy who's in charge of FIFA now. It was him back in 2018. And more recently, they made Qatar make it easier for people to get over to Qatar. But with America, when asked about why it's so difficult for anyone to get a visa and why a FIFA official, a referee, was turned away at the airport in Florida, that their response was, we don't get involved in government's immigration or visa things. We don't get involved. Yes, you do. You always have up till this point, and now they don't. Corruption. Why is no one boycotting FIFA? I don't get it. They are a joke. Yeah. Yep. They're awful. They're absolutely awful. But they've got loads of fucking money. And so they get to do what they want because people, organizations, individuals, tech bros, crypto magnates, oil oligarchs, they get to do what the fuck they like. That's the two-tier justice system, my friend. That's the two-tier system there. You go to private school, you meet up with lots of very rich people, you hang out with them for the rest of your life, you don't have to deal with the hoi polloi, the likes of us, and you're having a great time. According to some wrestler, apparently Michelle Obama's a man. I wonder if Barack knows. I wonder if they're children now. I don't think that works, does it? I don't know. Acro, that went down like a cold cup of a cup of cold sick. The wrestler's comment was disgusting. Yeah. Michelle Obama is more of a man than any of those so-called fighters. Those oiled up weirdos. Yeah. Hope Kate is loaded from ads on that website. I hope Kate is loaded from ads on that website. What, from being on the front cover of all the newspapers all the time? Indeed, yes, indeed. So let's see what else is happening. We've got I'm going to wrap up at 10:30 this morning because I've got some things to do, and we've got PMQs coming, and I'm assuming it's going to be deputy PMQs because I think that the Prime Minister's at what's that thing called that he goes to at the G7. I think he's at the G7 summit. Let me just check on the old schedule. I don't think they're having the day off, but it might be deputy. It might be deputy PMQs. Oh, BBC Parliament schedule. 12 o'clock. Yes. Oh no, Prime Minister's questions. It says questions to Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister. Okay, he must be back. I mean, it's only over in France, isn't it? You could get the Eurostar back. It's really old, racist, far-right meme. Basically, they think Michelle is ugly, so they claim that she is trans. She's not ugly. She's better looking than 99% of those fucking refuckers and MAGA fucks. I mean, they are really fucking minging. Jesus Christ. But yeah. So yeah, I was going to say, if we can get another 3, another 3 super chats in, we can release the confetti. Yeah. What else have we got going on? There was a tweet put out by Brendan Cox yesterday, the wife of Joe Cox, and he wrote, 10 years ago, my wife, the mum of our kids and the MP for Batley and Spen, was killed by a far-right extremist. At anniversaries, I tried to be optimistic about the future, but not this time. In the 10 years since she was killed, we have gone backwards, and I fear our democracy is now at risk. And I can't argue with that. And what I wrote is the foreign-based billionaires say to our politicians, do as we say, or we will fund your opponents. That's the deal. Corruption at the highest fucking level of government. Because we are controlled by people from other countries who have lots of money. And even if our politicians have some kind of integrity and say, no, I will not take your money to do what you want me to do, these oligarchs will fund their opponents who will take their money. Like Nigel Farage, he's very happy to take people's money, whether it's Aaron Banks' money or whether it's Christopher Harbone's money. Just as long as they went to a posh private school in this country, he's happy to take their money. Martin Harrow, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Guilt trip, yay! And then we've got Saz, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. And we've also got Kev there, and Kev Pound as apologies for absence. You don't have to apologise, my friend. You don't have to apologize. No one has to apologise for anything. But thank you so much. It means that I can do this. 3, 2, 1. Confetti! Woo! Confetti. Yeah, so I wrote, millions of easily manipulated saps in this country applaud these seedy, twitchy billionaires who wouldn't be able to find England on a map of the UK. These silly old dupes get giddy at the prospect of our country being ruled over by puppets who await instructions from the Kremlin or Silicon Valley or Riyadh. Or Riyadh. They still think the money is going to trickle down. They stand waist deep in raw sewage face to the sky, arms in the air, eyes wide shut, mouth gaping open as democracy shrivels and dies all around us. And we've got to get through to these people. We have got to get through to them. It's been 10 years since the Brexit fraudulendum, and they still think that Nigel Farage has their best interests at heart. We need to have words. We all need to have words, because Nigel Farage is a fucking menace. He is an absolute menace to our society, and we will be much better off without him. He needs to go. He needs to go. Whether that's going to jail or in exile or whatever you need to do. Just get him out of politics. Get him out of British politics. He should not be 1,000 miles of our parliament, of the mother of all parliaments. Spread love, not hate, says Liam Fairhurst. Yes, I agree. That's a very nice thing to say. And yeah, spread butter, not margarine. Despite constant negative press. Confetti! Confetti. Confetti! But yeah, I'm hopeful in some ways about the future, and it's just my personality, I guess. But I look at what's happening in the world, and for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And you look at Trump, well, not directly because he's ugly, but what he's done is he has strengthened NATO. He has strengthened the EU. He has made it more likely that Britain is going to rejoin the European Union sooner rather than later. He has accelerated the path to renewables like nobody has ever done in the world before, because China is like, oh, we don't have as much oil coming from the Middle East. We need oil. Well, we need it for power. Maybe if we made more solar panels and wind turbines, we would have enough power. Okay, let's do that then, because they can do that cheaply and easily. And China's been doing that for the last few months, just making loads of fucking solar panels and putting them up. There's drones putting solar panels on the side of mountains at the moment, installing the bastards as quickly as humanly possible. And that is being driven by Trump and by the fact that he decided to have a war with Iran. Iran is now more powerful in its region than ever before. So that's going to make the balance of power quite interesting in the Middle East, because it knows it's got something over Saudi Arabia that Saudi Arabia can do fuck all about. I.e., it can shut the Strait of Hormuz. I mean, Saudi Arabia does have Jeddah, it does have ports on the west side of the country, so it can get boats straight into the Red Sea. But if you're Kuwait or Bahrain or the UAE, there's no way of getting your boat from where you need it to be, from where it fills up with oil around the Strait of Hormuz. You just can't do it. Spontaneous confetti, says Diz. Yeah, sometimes it just happens. Can we just open refuck UK asylums up and stick all the delusional reform supporters in them for the good of the rest of the UK? I would, if I was in charge, right? Because I'll be taking no prisoners on this. I really would. I would designate Reform UK as a terrorist organisation. You know, like what happened to the supporters of Palestine Action? Hey, you know, I think there's enough evidence to support the idea that it is a terrorist group. They don't have Britain's best interests at heart. They're funded by sketchy billionaires from halfway around the world. They want to get rid of everything that makes Britain great. Sounds like terrorism to me. And they do it by terrorizing people and making people feel like the family that's moved in down the road, the Indian family that's moved in down the road, is going to come and kill you all in the middle of the night, or some such nonsense. Trickle-down economics is the coldest, most cynical lie of the 20th century, and is still an article of faith amongst the sickest and greediest pirates the world has ever seen. Yeah. Trickle-down economics. There are people out there who believe that because Elon Musk has now got $1 trillion to his name, that makes us all richer. And you're like, that's not how it works. I often talk about the GDP of a village. There's 100 people living there and everyone's got nothing. They get one potato a day. And then a billionaire turns up and suddenly the GDP per capita is a fucking billion. dollars for that particular village, £1 billion for that particular village. And you're like, yeah, but the 99 people in the village are just having a potato. um, also prescribe Restore UK and raise the colours as well. Yeah, fucking just do it. Just do it, say the terrorist groups. And then you can point to all the things they've done. Raise the colours. The fucking guy who's found that it's a fucking murderer. Fucking killer. The other cunt who surrounded it ran someone over in his fucking van. Come on. Farage telling people to go out and fucking riot. 3 separate occasions now. 3 separate occasions he's told people to go out and riot. Once for Southport, one for Southampton, and one for Northern Ireland or Belfast. So yeah. Martin says, we had lunch yesterday and she was fine, but we've been worried. Been on the phone since 1 p.m. 1 a.m. Jesus. She set out the redundancy letters yesterday and worried about it. She spoke to everyone in person though. Mate, having to send out redundancy letters to people in your team or whatever it is, it's not a nice process. That's why I could never work in HR. Terrorists haven't been to private school, Graham, says Acro Dave. Well, you say that, but don't forget, Osama bin Laden was a member of the bin Laden family, who are an incredibly wealthy family who work in construction in Saudi Arabia, and he lived a very, very cushy life. He grew up in basically a palace, and I think he was probably privately educated. I don't know. I just don't think he went to the state comp. Yeah, Osama bin Laden went to a private school. I think he did. And also so did Kim Jong Un. He went to a private school in Switzerland, I think. Osama bin Laden. He blah blah blah. Early life. Bin Laden family. House of Saud. Blah blah blah. He went to the prestigious Al Thaga Model School in Jeddah. Let's have a look. It's a second school, housed on 2 buildings, founded. I don't know. Faisal opened a large campus for the School of Jeddah and provide an annual fund for several million Saudi riyals from the national budget. The entrance exam was open to all Saudis. Some lower caste Saudis were granted acceptance and attended school with wealthier Saudis. Blah blah blah. Most prestigious school in Jeddah. No, I don't think it was private. I think it was or maybe it was private. Had the reputation of a private enclave for the sons of businessmen and the royal family. Okay, cool. So there you go. School. They modelled the school after Victoria College, a school in Khartoum, in Khartoum in Sudan, inspired by British education. Saudi Arabian government provided funds and staff members for the school. Okay, cool. It sounds like it is a state school, but kind of weird. Boarding students. Is it private or is it not? Oh, for God's sake. Why don't you can't get a straight answer sometimes? Is this school a private school? Is a private educational. Yes, it is private. Private stroke national. Okay. So you're right, he did go to private. Oh, maybe I should add him to the list. Maybe I should add it to the list. Do you think I should add him to the list? Should I add Osama bin Laden to the private school mafia list? I think I will. I mean, Ghislaine Maxwell is on the list. Of course she is. There's some really, really, really horrible people in there. So let's add Osama bin Laden. Osama, right? So let's look. What should I put down as Osama? God, there's a lot to scroll down, isn't there? Bloody hell! So I'm just scrolling. I'm scrolling. Getting RSI in my finger. I'm scrolling so much. Right, where are we? Ollie Robbins, Orlando Bloom, Una Chapman, Osama, Otis Redding. Yeah, not that one. Different Otis Redding. Not the singer. He is a pro hunting cockwomble. It says here. So yeah, Osama Bin Laden. That's quite funny, isn't it? That like, is it? Right, so put that in there. What should I put as Osama bin Laden's? What should I put as Osama bin Laden's profession? Terrorist. There you go. All the best people go to private school. Liverpool College Academy has boarders and day boarders. I thought Liverpool College is now not a private school anymore. It used to be private when I was in Blue Coat. Liverpool College was all the posh kids. Guardian is saying Lammy is doing PMQs. Okay, that makes sense because he's the deputy leader, and I was just thinking, hang on, isn't Keir Starmer away this week? But at the G7. So yeah, thank you for letting me know. So deputy PMQs at 12 o'clock. So please join me for that. And yeah, I just want to say, are we writing today, Graham? I had fun with yesterday's session. My very sheltered protagonist trying to navigate a pub for the first time. Yes, I've got a couple of things to do straight after PMQs, but then I should be back here for maybe I want to say 2 o'clock, and then I'll be doing some work then, and then hopefully this evening I'm meeting up with Ben Chambers, Ben of the Chambers, and we're going to go and see Backrooms because I haven't seen that yet. That's the other YouTube film. It's not made by YouTube. It's just that Obsession and Backrooms were both made by former YouTubers. It's not private. It's an academy. It used to be private. That's what I'm saying. It used to be private in the 90s, but now it's not anymore. But yeah, so Acro Dave, sorry mate, terrorists have been to private school. I know you're being a bit facetious there, but yes, it's there. Okay, sweet. I'll be there for that stream then. A brilliant Gallifreyan event. Sorry about Monday. We didn't get to do a writing session Monday because a few things happened, but mostly because I forgot that my stepdaughter's final GCSE was that day. I was like, oh yeah, I should do something. So most leaders of Islamic terrorist groups in at least the 70s were graduates of Sandhurst, where they learned their skills from the British. Yep. A lot of the children of world leaders, especially like African dictators and stuff, went to private school in the UK. True story. Okay, so thanks very much for watching. I'm going to get off now. You have been you've been amazing. Thank you for being with us this morning. And if you want to continue the conversation on, please feel free to go over to the Discord server, the Politics Social Discord server, I think it's still called. And otherwise, give us a like. And also, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps. And hit the bell notification icon if you are subscribed, so you'll know when we're going live. There's going to be no rabbit hole tonight. As I said, I'm going to go and watch this movie with Ben, and then I'm probably going to... do we have to watch the football? Should we watch the football? I don't want to watch the football. But what I might do is like not watch it on the BBC and instead watch it on another channel. I should move like this because I'm probably going to get done for copyright, aren't I, by FIFA for having this out of focus TV in the background showing the BBC News. But yeah, maybe I should not watch it on the BBC and find some illegal download for it. So I'm not giving any money to FIFA or Trump. Martin Howard, it was private until 2015. Yeah. There was a Tory twat who went to Liverpool College, wasn't there? There was one of the Tory members of the Tory government. Thanks again. Have a great morning and be kind to yourself and each other, says Diz. Oh, that's so sweet. Yes, I echo Diz's words there. And so I'll get off, and I'll be back at 12 for PMQs. So please join me for that, Deputy PMQs, I guess. And until then, I'll say thank you so much for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.